everyone. I'm back to do a quick con law video on individual rights, and this video just contains the freedom of religion. The other ones will be on my next videos. Okay, so let's talk about individual rights. The following constitutional provisions apply to all federal and state governmental actions. So this doesn't exclude the state or federal. It applies to both federal and state governmental actions and provides individual rights for the people. Okay, and these are all included. Freedom of religion, which is going to be this video, freedom of speech, freedom of association, due process, involuntary servitude, the Equal Protection Clause, and takings. I know in one of my other videos I said Establishment Clause. That was a mistake. I get these confused with the EP. So it's the Equal Protection Clause that I'm talking about, and that's for my other video that I made. So it's not establishment, it's the Equal Protection Clause. And then there's also takings. So we're going to talk about freedom of religion today in this video. It's the Free Exercise Clause and the Establishment Clause here. And the rule for freedom of religion is a First Amendment limitation on Congress's actions and is also applicable to the states through the 14th Amendment. There are two clauses. Now this is a good one to use. I've seen these in a lot of essays, this rule. And you have to write applicable through the states or the 14th Amendment if we're talking about a state action. Okay? Now we're going to talk about the FEC and the EC. FEC's first. The rule on this is bars any law that prohibits or seriously burdens the free exercise of religion unless there's a compelling government interest. Now, compelling government interest should ring a bell in your head stating SS, strict scrutiny, okay? Exception, so if the law is of general applicability, which means it applies to everybody, that's an exception here, and you would argue that on your test. If a law that does not intentionally burden religious beliefs and advances important public interest is allowable. Now there's an exception to this exception. Now the exception to the above is the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, which is the Lobby Hobby case, which is pretty recent, and that's a strict scrutiny. They use the strict scrutiny on that. So the Religious Freedom Restoration Act allows a person to challenge a federal law of general applicability if there is a substantial burden of religious free exercise and the government must meet strict scrutiny, which is narrowly tailored to achieve a compelling government interest. The law cannot require a small company to provide a contraceptive coverage to employees since it violates the company's religious beliefs. And that's the Hobby Lobby case if you want to look that up. Okay. Let's go to our next slide, the EC, which is the Establishment Clause. The rule prohibits laws respecting the establishment of religion. The government cannot endorse or favor specific religious groups. I've seen tons of essays and MBEs on that. So the government cannot favor a specific or religious group. Now, sect preference is strict scrutiny. The action must be narrowly tailored to achieve a compelling government interest. If there's no sect preference, then we use the Lemon test, which is mostly what we remember in school, the Lemon test. Different mnemonics for this, I use the C mnemonic, S-E-E. The action must have a secular purpose, a primary secular effect, which means it neither advances nor inhibits any kind of religion, and there's no excessive entanglement with religion. The government has no excessive entanglement with religion. So S for secular, E for effect, and E for entanglement. Now, usually we're going to, if we see a religion question on our essays, we're going to discuss both of these on the essay, FEC and the EC. And I'll do a little flow chart at the end here. Move on to our next one. Approach. I'm going to do a drawing for you now so you guys can see how I do this. Get out my drawing pen. So remember, it's the FEC and the EC when we're talking about religion. So my drawing here, let's do the FE. Okay, let's do the FEC first. So this is how I write it on my essay. FEC. Then I'm going to start with my rule, of course. Okay, and out of that rule, I'm going to get two things. Does it target religion? A certain religion? Or is it a law of general applicability? So as you read your facts, you have to say, is it targeting one specific religion? or, this is an or, is it a law of general applicability? Okay, so let me change my color. Now, if it is targeting religion and you answer yes to this, you're going to do the strict scrutiny test, okay? And that's necessary to achieve a compelling government interest. And remember, when you do strict scrutiny, the burden is on the government. Let me do that real quick. So, a burden is on the government, okay? If we're gonna do that test. Now, if we're gonna go over here and, so if it is targeting religion, you answer yes to that, you're gonna use strict scrutiny. And remember, it's necessary to achieve, it needs to be necessary to achieve a compelling government interest, and the burden is on the government, okay? Now that's big for MBEs, who's the burden on. General applicability applies to everybody, and you answer yes to this. You're gonna use the rational basis test. So, the rational basis test is, remember, the burden's on the challenger on this part, to show the law is not rationally related to a legitimate state interest. Okay, so let's do it over here. Remember, the burden's on the challenger. You need to know who the burden is on. Okay, so remember, strict scrutiny, the burden's on the government. Rational basis test, the burden's on the challenger. And that's it. Then you're going to do your arguments, and then you're going to write it up. So that's for the FEC. Now, the PEE, the Lemon test, I'll go ahead and do for you. The Lemon test, I just put PEE on the top when I'm writing my flowchart out. The Lemon test, I write my rule. From my rule, I'm going to have my elements, S, E, E, secular purpose, primary secular effect. I'll just put these real quick. Secular purpose, primary secular effect, and entanglement. No excessive entanglement. And then you just write your conclusion. Okay, so we have the PEE. The rule, I like to use my mnemonic, SEE. S is for secular purpose. Effect, E is for effect, primary secular effect. And another E is for no excessive government entanglement. And that's it for both of those. Now let's go back to my approach here. Now, my whole con law approach was I've given to you guys on every single con law lecture. I'm trying to get this done fast here. Is going to be JSPFLLI. J is for, we have to remember all of these main bigger issues in order to find the smaller issues. So it's memorization here. Justiciability, state action, powers of the states, federal powers, limitations on state powers, limitations on federal powers. All of these are already done on other videos. And individual rights I'm working on right now. And the only one I've done so far is freedom of religion. And I'll work on the others in my next videos. Okay, good luck on the bar exam, and I'll see you guys in my next video.